Hi, I'm Chitra from Martinhal, and I'm here to interview two nautical archaeologists who are here with us today, George Schwartz and Tiago Fraga. George Schwartz is from the United States and Tiago Fraga is from Portugal, and they're working on an archaeological project here at Martinhal. So, George and Tiago, tell me a bit more about this project.
This project started in 2007. It was an Institute of Nautical Archaeology project, and what we intended to do in 2007 was to do some archival research and also to do some preliminary swimline surveys and investigations in the bay. And we learned a lot that year, and we developed a plan to come back and continue our investigations. And in 2012, we returned and we did some remote sensing survey in the bay. And essentially what that allows us to do is see the seafloor, is to be able to see features on the seafloor without putting divers in. So first we have a good idea of what's down there and looking for this shipwreck. In 2013 we returned, we did some more of this hydrographic surveying, and then we sent some archaeological divers and archaeologists down to investigate different sites. So then 2014 we've returned again, and this week what we're doing is investigating more of the sites that we found with remote sensing, and we found out that there are quite a few shipwrecks or parts of shipwrecks in the bay. So while we're looking for this early 17th century vessel, we found the nautical history of this region sort of emerging from the seafloor, and we're seeing some really interesting sites.
And Tiago, you being Portuguese, this must be quite exciting for you. With Portugal's history so connected to seafaring and the ages of discovery and all that, how do you feel?
The fact is that most people think that we know a lot about these ships and the seafaring history of Portugal, but we have become focused on the main ships, which are the Caravel, the Nau and the Galleon, and there's an entire history to find, which is here under the bay, which with these shipwrecks we'll be able to start understanding the privately owned vessels, the vessels that did most of the trade, networks not involved directly with the King's trade. So the people responsible for 80% of the trade network, the Portuguese trade network, were people that do not end up in history books, and because they're not socially important, and their story needs to be told too.
So what have you actually found?
Well, we've actually found a wide range of materials on the seafloor from Roman pottery up to 20th century fiberglass hulls. So there's quite a lot of material in the bay. What's of interest to us and what we have been recording are 3 shipwrecks that we found. Well, 2 and then a potential 3rd. One of them we call EBT-1. It was one of the first sites that we found. Our first dive actually in 2012, we found a shipwreck, which was great for us, for morale. It was wonderful. So we've been recording that in detail. We believe that's a 19th century vessel, but it's not, as you would expect, a shipwreck intact. We're not finding that because we have a very mobile seafloor. We have a lot of energy, wave energy. So a lot of wreck sites will get scattered.
So the ultimate objective of your project is to find the 17th century vessel, or what is it?
Yes, we're actually really interested in studying this early 17th century vessel, but we've learned from our surveys that there's a lot of underwater cultural heritage here, and the more research we're doing in the archives and the more information we get, we're learning a lot. And this is historically a very important region in terms of navigation.
You have to think that Finisterre, the Cape Sagres, is the border between the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. In such ways it's considered the end of the world, and it was a navigation challenge since Roman times. So you have in this region not only 2,000 years of seafaring history, but it's on the spot of all major routes since pre-classical times, which is like 4,000 before Christ, to the opening of the Panama Channel. Every single ship had to pass here, and every single ship had to rage against Poseidon sometimes, and some of them lost right here.
So thank you very much, George and Tiago. It was really interesting. So let's leave them to do their dives and talk to them again after one of their dives to find out what happens on a survey. here we are with George and Tiago. They've just come out of the water, and we thought it would be great to find out how their dive this morning went. So how was it, guys?
It went really well today, actually. We had beautiful weather, and we were able to investigate a few sites of strong interest for us. We looked at a cannon. It was in about 14 meters of water that appears to be fairly old, and it may or may not be associated with a shipwreck. We need to do further research on that. But fairly large, about 2 meters long, fairly encrusted with sea life. So we know it's been underwater for quite a while. We need to do more research on that one. Then we went to look at another site that we had recently found, a large anchor, another heavily encrusted artifact that was found by itself. So it may or may not be associated with the wreck that we're looking for, but it's very possible that it could be.
Fantastic. I mean, the Portuguese coast must be a wealth of cannon and anchors and shipwrecks. Well, how many do you think are along this coast alone?
Only in this bay we know at least small bay, we said at least 12 shipwreck events. That's
Really?
Shipwreck events, not counting ditched cargo, lost artifacts, and so on and so on.
So George and Tiago, you've done all these dives now. You're leaving in a couple of days' time. What's going on right now?
We had a very successful campaign. We collected a lot of data that put us very aware that we have a lot of information that we need a few years more to do our work here and get the history out to the public. So we have more to come.
Fantastic. So it's been really interesting finding out about a nautical archaeologist's work, especially at Martinhal. I'd like to thank you both for being here and for doing this project. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having us here today and talking about this project. And we also like to thank you very much for the support that you've given us for this project. Thank you.
It's absolutely our pleasure, and see you again next year.
You bet.
Super.